Living well on a sailboat long term is about self-sufficiency, and a big part of self-sufficiency on a boat is being able to maintain and fix things yourself. When we bought Tycho, one thing we were well aware of was the state of her teak decks. Their ageing condition is something we're going to need to address, and when we weathered a cyclone and found the cockpit floor was leaking, our hand was forced to make a start on teak work. In this episode we show you how we got on with our first big effort to address the issue of an ageing teak deck by refurbishing our cockpit floor. So we've got a bit of an issue with the boat, and that is we've got some failing teak deck, but we thought maybe if we start with a cockpit floor, which is pretty bad, and just learn a little bit more about what this boat, how it's put together and what removing it means. So just got a few basic tools just to have an initial go. This is the cockpit just after the wheel. Hopefully you can see much of the caulking's long gone, and it's pretty uneven, so let's just try lifting up a little bit and see how this goes. Bit of moisture in here after a cyclone had been raining into our cockpit for 3 days. I stood on this one and it went squish, so I thought, oh, time to remove that. So we're just removing the teak in this part of the cockpit, and it was quite damp, and these big planks came off quite easily. And then we've come across this part here, which is, we think, plywood, and there's a sharp cut line here. This is fiberglass, so it goes fiberglass, plywood, and then there's another fiberglass section. So we're just going to keep removing these planks to expose this. Currently thinking that might be that the engine was removed out of here sometime in the past. So not sure exactly what this is going to require, but we'll just keep exposing it and see where we get to. It's clearly rotten, so we're going to have to replace it. But let's just hope that the moisture hasn't got into the core and around it. That's probably my only concern. So continuing on with the teak removal in the cockpit, making quite good progress. I've removed teak from just about everywhere now, so that's behind the helm, and then there's this area here which leads down to the companionway. So yesterday we found this part of the floor which is actually plywood, and we got in touch with the boat builder, who we're really lucky to have contact with, and he said that this would be an area where the life raft compartment would normally be, but some people, when they built their Chico, didn't put that life raft locker in, so instead here we've got a plywood blank. So just doing the last bit of the teak removal now, just right up against the companionway. There's a little bit, so there's a lot of waste here which we need to get rid of, and then the next step will be to go through and remove each of these screws and fill each screw hole with epoxy, and then we can smooth off this and start building it up for the new substrate of the cockpit floor. So I had a good go yesterday making a start on stripping back the cockpit floor. Been using this electric grinder with this sanding disc, which is 40 grit. It's pretty aggressive, really made short work of things. So the bit that got done yesterday was this part of the cockpit floor, and you can see there's a few different layers here. There's still a bit of glue. The yellowy bits are the glue that was holding the teak down, and then there's the white gel coat. In some places we've gone through to fiberglass, and there's also a few bits of teak, very thin remains of teak. So this probably needs a little bit more work, and we've been through and removed all the screws. So the whole cockpit's removed of screws. So what happened yesterday though was, because the grinder doesn't have any dust collection mechanism, so it just was pretty horrendous with the dust, the fiberglass dust and teak dust and everything. So just stopped then, and we're going to have to take some more precautions. So we've got some plastic drop sheets. We're going to build a bit of a tent, tape out a tent in the cockpit, and I've got some overalls and a respirator, and so we're just going to gear up a little bit more on the dust management side of things and knock this off so that we can epoxy all the holes, get it all sanded back and epoxy the holes, because I have to go away for 2 or 3 weeks of work, and we're going to leave the deck and the cockpit floor in a good space but also watertight. So yeah, let's get this done. So that's the sanding grinding done for now. It's all come up pretty good. Got rid of all the teak and gave this plywood a sand as well. Stripped that back to a decent substrate, and giving this bit of plywood a bit of time just to dry out, and also sanding back. It's clear that it's not rotten, so that's good. Just jumped to a bit of a conclusion to start with, but no, it should be good to go. So pretty much done the initial prep on the cockpit floor. Just need to take off the binnacle and do the piece of the cockpit floor beneath that. So now the job is to go through and fill the rest of the screw holes with epoxy. So it's important we do this so that the cockpit floor remains watertight. Next steps to remove the steering. So to do that, this berth squabs come out, and you can access underneath, up on the side there, access underneath the binnacle and start taking that out. So let's get into this. So this is the underside of the binnacle. So there's the steering chain, there's some bolts above that, and then there's these bigger bolts which hold the binnacle down, and there's a NEMA power and also power to the compass light. So those things will need to be disconnected for now. So I've just disconnected the NEMA 2000 cable, so that's free, and the power up to the pod. I've just cut that, so that's easy to reconnect later. And then just been searching here, this is the power to the compass, and it's these chocolate box connectors. Been weeding them out from around the boat, so I've just discovered some here. It's a convenient place to disconnect it, but also when I put it back together it'll be done with waterproof butt connector fittings. Just disconnected the steering cable out of the lazarette, and you should be able to take the chain off now. So it'll be good to give that a bit of a clean. There's the sprocket and the bearing. Now there's just one last bolt holding things together there. So I'm just going to do this last bolt. So this mounts like this in position facing aft, and it's just a thick steel, and there's this bearing here with this roller on it. So the chain turns into a cable and it crosses over here, and the cable goes back to the transom. So just another piece to clean up. There's a bit of surface rust on there, so I'll be able to clean that up. Roger dodgy. This is the bottom bearing. So this spine here connects up into the quadrant. So when we turn the wheel, this turns, and there's a chain on the bottom here which goes back to the rudder, this one here, back to the quadrant. So there's a bearing inside this piece of aluminium, and obviously it's been greased up, but it needs some TLC. Yeah, so and part of this opportunity is to get to know the steering system and to clean it all up and get it all top notch, so that we've got confidence in it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I got no reason to be sad. My mood is convinced me that it's bad. With every emotion that I had, but you don't care. Oh my God, it's so strange how we end up in here again. I don't care as long as you get me off my feet.
This is the steel part from the steering. It's got a bit of rust on it, so I've just sanded it back and applied some rust killer before painting it. It's had a sand back. I'm just going to wipe it down with acetone, clean up the surface, make sure it's all nice and clean.
You give me it, baby, I swear that will be alright. I'm asking to save it all over again. I'm asking to save it all over again. If we were a movie, then how would it end? But you don't care. Oh my God, it's so strange how we end up in here again. I don't care as long as you get me off my feet. I don't know what to say. Don't know what to say. Don't know what to say. Don't know what to say.
The most recent step is to go around right into the corner, all the way around, and chip out any teak or old coving. So there was some epoxy coving that needed to come out, and that just means that with the templating that's now about to happen, we can push the template right up against the sides of the cockpit. And for the templating, I'm going to use this core flute, which is a plastic sheet. It's like a hollow core, and cut that into strips. Use this hot glue gun to glue the strips together to sort of template and create the outside edge of the cockpit, and then be able to overlay that onto the marine ply and get the right shape straightforward marine ply so that it fits in nicely.
If you got plans, let me go. Please don't let me know. If you got plans, let me go. Please don't let me know. Oh my God, it's so strange how we end up being here again. I don't care as long as you get me off my feet. I don't know what to say. 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 I don't care as long as you get me off my feet.
So that's the templating finished. There's three main parts. The first part is this back bit, just one independent part, and then there's these corners, this one here, and then you've got probably one big section which comes right from the binnacle right up to the companionway, and the aft one here that can be cut down the middle because it falls slightly to port and to starboard. And it also, the reason that there's that one and then this one is because it rolls. So the prep's done, sanding's finished, and just wiped everything down with acetone, all the surfaces that I'm about to put the epoxy on. So this is the bottom of the main piece of ply that's going down. I'm going to wet that down with unthickened epoxy, and then I'll have some thickened epoxy made up and it'll go down as a glue. I'm going to use the microfiber blend for the laminating, so that's to glue the ply down, and this microsphere blend to do the coving. That will come a bit later, but for now I'll be working with the microfiber blend and the epoxy here. So yeah, let's make this up and go. So got that down, quite a lot of rushing to get it all mixed up and applied, so I've just been around and screwed down in multiple places as well, so I can take those out later. Got these jerry cans just weighing it all down, so I'll just go around and clean up where the epoxy's sticking up so I don't have to sand it later, take off the high points, etc. So I'll just do that now and let it set. I've got the thickened epoxy on here. This is the last bit of floor to glue down. Just using this comb to apply it. So I'm going to put these pieces down there. Cool, so we're going to have one run of fiberglass down to about here and then another run across. So the steering sits here, the scuppers are at the back there. So yeah, that's how we're going to do it and minimise the number of joints. yesterday we put fiberglass down on our cockpit floor, and today we're going to do the corners, but first we're going to take the peel ply off and see what it looks like. Wow. It's like unwrapping a present.
What's it looking like?
There's a few little uppy bits, but it's pretty good.
Not bad for first timers.
Yeah. First bit. Here we go. Wow.
Is Skipper happy?
Yeah, Skipper's happy. It's all watertight, which is good.
Better than a hole in the boat.
Better than a hole in the boat.
How do you think it's going?
Yeah, it's going well. Learning how to do the fairing, mixing the different consistencies as we go. So this first bit was a bit stressful, but now I understand a bit better. So
Yeah.
the more we do, the easier it gets.
Yeah, look, looking great.
Everything has had 2 coats of paint on the cockpit floor. These are the holes, that's where the binnacle goes. The fillers are the bigger holes, and then there's the stainless piping, which has the cables for the pod. So I'm just using marine adhesive to seal, keep that watertight, stop moisture getting in under each and around each of these fittings. So it's a matter of getting those all fitted today, and then I can tape around them and put the non-skid in, which will be the last step. 2 years on, and our cockpit floor refurbishment has now proven to be strong and watertight. This project was a big boost to our confidence in tackling significant boat projects, and we are super grateful for the encouragement of our friends to take on this project. It has been a huge success.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy our videos, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up and sharing with those who you think will enjoy it too. A massive thank you to our Patreons for your support. It means a lot to us. Thank you again, and see you next Sunday.